Everybody, and welcome to Live from the Lou. I'm your host, Charlie Worsham. I was born on a blue vein highway line, running up and down Mississippi's crooked spine. I've been gone too long. It's high time I made time for this. 100 miles south of Graceland's gate, you see me coming from the volunteer state with a homesick heart and magnolia plates off exit 206. When it all gets to be too much, my soul feels out of touch, I get my beat up ride and drive I-55. I fill up on old friends, get back to where it all begins. I always leave feeling more alive, I-55. My arm on the windowsill, breathing in them old pine hills and the midnight smoke from the paper mill, the stars off of Levee Road. This little lake town is all we got, but I love it most for what it's not. And them kids in the Chinese parking lot, that was me 10 years ago. It was. When it all gets to be too much, my soul feels out of touch, I get my beat up ride and drive I-55. I fill up on old friends, get back to where it all begins. I always leave feeling more alive, I-55. And I never can stay as long as I want to, and I might have moved away, but the one thing I won't do is forget where I come from. You can bet I'll always run back down that old familiar stretch of interstate. When it all gets to be too much, when my soul feels out of touch, I fill up on old friends, and I get back to where it all begins, all begins. I-55, I drive. I-55. Hey everybody, welcome to Live from the Lou. If you tune into the show on a regular basis, you've probably already figured out that this isn't the typical setting for the show. That's because I made a road trip this week from Nashville back to my hometown of Grenada, Mississippi to spend a little time with my mom and dad. But I want everyone to know we're staying safe and observing social distancing guidelines. We're keeping 6 feet apart from one another, using face masks, and I'm not even sleeping under the same roof. We're very fortunate to have this, the guest house, which when I was growing up was known as the studio, because I spent countless hours in this room practicing guitar and banjos, singing, writing songs, jamming with friends, even making a record before I left home. And we got a very special Mississippi themed show in store for you tonight. I kicked the show off with a song I wrote about driving home called I-55. I got my Marty Stewart t-shirt on, and we have a very special guest. My friend Wade Bowen is going to be here in just a few minutes. Thank you so much for tuning in. What do you say we get to the pick of the week?
Pick of the week.
This week's pick of the week is Wade's World. Every Friday at 8 p.m. Central, Wade Bowen broadcasts live from his garage, and he's always got great songs, great stories, and great guests. In a time of quarantine, it's about the closest you can get to hanging out at a Texas dance hall. And all you got to do to feel like you're really there is tune in and maybe crack open your favorite brew. Don't miss it. Wade's World, Friday nights at 8 p.m. on Wade Bowen's Facebook channel. Y'all be sure to check out Wade's World. And speaking of Wade's World, our special guest tonight is somebody I've been lucky to call my friend for over a decade now. When I was starting out, he was one of the first people to offer an opening spot on his tour, and he even let me ride on his tour bus. And we've been good friends ever since, writing songs together and making memories together. He makes some of the best records in country music today, and he's a treasured part of the Texas music community. I got to catch up with him before I headed down here to Mississippi this week and talk about a record that he just put out, a collection of duets with his friend Randy Rogers. Y'all make welcome the one and only Wade Bowen. You and I met a long, long time ago. I was just getting started, and I had already heard your records. The first song of yours anybody ever played for me was "If We Ever Make It Home," and it floored me. I remember where I was. I was in one of those Chrysler vans. My buddy was a drummer. He had a green Chrysler van, and we were going to get lunch, and he stopped me before we went in. He said, "You got to hear this record, man. This is Wade Bowen." And I've been a fan ever since, and little did I know a few years after that moment I would get to hop on your tour bus. You were one of the first people to take me out and give me a leg up, and you've always just shared your stage with me, and that kindness that you've shown me is not uncommon. There are a lot of people who have the similar stories of you helping them out. But what I love about your artistry, in addition to just who you are outside of the music, is that you are truly an album artist to me. Your records show your growth over the years. They show the things that you care about, whether it's making an album of gospel music for your mother, or it's these Hold My Beer records with Randy Rogers. And for my money, when you put out The Given, I thought that was just the most, and still believe, the most valiant effort of a record that should have been in the album of the year category. I mean, for crying out loud, you sing with Guy Clark on that record, and it's got so many great songs on it. And is that something for you? What makes you tick when it comes to albums? What did you always set out to be, an album artist, or is that something that you looked up one day and kind of realized just happened by accident? Tell me about your relationship with making records.
No, I always, when I didn't know how to make records, I started off just trying to figure it all out, as we all do. But then I remember it took me 3 years to make a record called Lost Hotel, which was released back in 2006. And it took me 3 years to make that. And my producer, J.R. Rodriguez at the time, I would go to Nashville and just crash on his couch. And I did that over and over and over, trying to write and figure it all out. And through that 3-year process, where the reason it took 3 years is because I would get enough money to be able to record, 4 or 5 songs, and then spend it all, and then have to replenish, and go back and save up again. And it really actually forced me to analyze the record process from start to finish and not rush through it, which I think is very common for most young artists. They want to rush and hurry. They think that they got to get something out. And I was by force, I had to not do that. I had to be very patient, and we ended up recording like 20 songs for that record and put 12 of them on there, or 13 of them on there. And it just really helped me learn how to make a record. And since then, I've just tried to have a purpose with every project that I've ever done. And for me, because I focused so much on the touring, The Given was the only one that I focused, because that was the only record I made for a major label. And I had to kind of rearrange my thoughts, but I still kept the same mentality. I want to make a great record with lots of substance, but it's got to be somewhat commercial too. And I read a lot of stories on Springsteen where he made that decision, and pulled it off with the Born in the USA record. That was where he made the conscious effort. I'm going to try to make it a little more commercial and just see what we can do. So I read a lot of books that talked about that time period for him, and it really helped a lot. And then, you know, I think overall with every record I have in the back of my mind, I don't focus on radio singles. I focus on, you know, taking them and going and playing them live, which gives you more songs to work with, right? And that's what we do. That's what I've been doing for 20 years is focusing on, okay, maybe there's some commercial songs within these albums, but overall, you know, I've got to go play these. I've got to go out and play these live. And I think it's a different mentality from Nashville people for the most part, because, you know, and I get it. Like, I see it with a lot of my friends. You're focusing on the radio world because you need to get to the radio world and get it out there that way. And that's probably a much quicker way than my way of doing it. But it's a challenge. And, you know, you're sitting there waiting your turn, waiting in line, and all that, which I learned is very difficult to deal with, and you know, it takes a lot of patience. And so for me, I've just always focused on, okay, let the record have a direction, let them all make sense to each other, which even means a lot of times kicking off some of your favorite songs from the record and not putting them on there because it doesn't fit the project. So and then being able to go take those and go play them live, because you know I've got a touring base and great fans and stuff, and a lot of the songs that they want to hear every single night were never songs that were on the radio or singles, or you know, they're just songs that became this grassroots almost kind of thing within our journey, and it's really been cool to watch. So I keep that in mind with every song, knowing that okay, every record, every song might be a single, but it also might be a fan favorite. So focus and make sure every song is as good as it can be.
Man, well, it certainly feels to me like it has paid off, because as a fan, I feel ownership of those songs. And, you know, God willing, when we're all able to get in a room together, you just can't match that feeling of singing along to a song you love with other people who love it and the person who wrote it on the microphone leading the band, you know. And speaking of all these records, Wade, Hold My Beer Volume 2. Man, I feel like I've stepped back in time and that you and Randy are Waylon and Willie, and it's Poncho and Lefty. But it's not to say, it's not like you took the mold of that and just copied it. It's you and Randy to a T. But just reading through the song titles, I mean, AM, FM, Rodeo Clown, Habits, Mi Amigo, it's got that feeling of two old pals and in some kind of old dusty ride, just cruising off and having this legendary life and song. And I'd love to hear more about making this record. You had Lloyd Maines produce this record, and the playing on it is insanely good. I was going to say, This Ain't My Town, the mandolin playing and the dobro playing is just next level. And the steel guitar on that. Is Lloyd playing the steel guitar? Who all played on?
Let's see. I'm trying to find that record. I don't know where it is. But yeah, Lloyd plays all the steel. He's playing dobro. And we had some other guys come in. We had to Sleep at the Wheel, some of their guys, you know, because they were featured on Mi Amigo, the track, and they ended up playing a few other instruments as well. But yeah, Lloyd was the catalyst for the entire thing. I mean, he's built careers, you know, and built records for years, for 50 years, you know, and he's a legend in Texas, and I hope beyond. But yeah, he gets what we're trying to do. The musicianship is really important to him, and that's not normal with producers, right? I mean, producers for the most part are song people, or they're, you know, sonically trying to figure out the sound. But for Lloyd, he's a player first. So all of those little moments within the albums and within the songs themselves are very, very important, and he takes them very seriously and works on it really hard. And it's pretty cool to work with him. He's a great guy, great person, and man, what a fantastic dude, and he's just really, really great producer.
I sure appreciate you taking time to talk with me, Wade. I love your music so much, man. I've always been such a fan, and I've always been a fan of how you exhibit the lyrics in Humble and Kind. you've always, you get to the top of any mountain, you turn right around and you pull somebody else up. And a lot of times I've been that person you pulled up. And so I'm grateful to you for that. And just grateful for your music. Hold My Beer
pleasure.
Volume 2 is so good.
You're an easy one to pull up, my friend, because it's, you're as talented as they get in the world, man. So I'm always in your corner, you know that, and I'm rooting for you every second of every day. And I truly love you as a brother and as a musician and everything in between, man. So thanks for being my buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Wade.
All the years of friendship.
Amen. Yes, sir. Well, man, would you do us the honor of singing a song for everybody?
I would love to.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to perform the song Rhinestone off his critically acclaimed release of duets with Randy Rogers, Hold My Beer Volume 2, this is Wade Bowen.
Raised on it ever since I was 2. Daddy sang me the truth. Every word to your cheating heart. I drank on it when I turned 21. Sure had some fun, 2-stepping at that jukebox bar. Country music got me rhinestone, on drinking, cheating, done me wrong songs. Takes me back to the good old days, when a sad song made it all okay. Somebody turned me on some George Jones, pedal-steel guitars and neon smoke. The only place I feel right at home. Country music got me rhinestone. I dreamed on it, fell in love with the words and the stories I heard. Those melodies are memories I made. I prayed on it, I saw the light, and sometimes I cry when I hear I'll fly away. Country music got me rhinestone, on drinking, cheating, done me wrong songs. Takes me back to the good old days, when a sad song made it all okay. Somebody turned me on some George Jones, pedal-steel guitars and neon smoke. The only place I feel right at home. Country music got me rhinestone. Time moves on, they say you can't go back. Well, I know sometimes late at night I get long gone. Yeah, I get rhinestone. Country music got me rhinestone, on drinking, cheating, done me wrong songs. Takes me back to the good old days, when a sad song made it all okay. Somebody turned me on some George Jones, let me sing until the lights come on. The only place I feel right at home. Country music got me rhinestone. Called Rhinestone. Thanks so much, Charlie. You're a good friend, buddy. Love you to death.
Thank you so much, Wade. I love that song and I love you. Folks, do yourselves a favor, get a copy of Hold My Beer Volume 2, and while you're at it, get a copy of every record Wade ever made. They're all great. Well, if you look up on the wall here, you'll see my very first guitar and my very first banjo, and if you were to walk through the doors, you'd think you'd walked into the Charlie Worsham Museum. Every nook and cranny is chock full of memories. You'll find autographed banjo heads and old guitar cases, show poster memories and heroes' faces. It's all part of a life in country music, which brings me to our next segment, a new edition of Hillbilly Treasures.
Welcome to another edition of Hillbilly Treasures.
So that's how you get to Twitty City. Yes. Hello, welcome to another edition of Hillbilly Treasures. Tonight our story begins in Smithville, Tennessee in 1998, where a 12-year-old yours truly traveled with his banjo to compete in the Junior National Banjo Championship, a contest which I happened to win. Upon returning back to Mississippi, I wrote a letter to my hero and native son of Smithville, Tennessee, Grand Ole Opry star Mike Snyder. In the letter, I thanked Mike Snyder for inspiring me to take up the banjo, and I also dropped a not-so-subtle hint that it would be my dream to someday play on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry. Well, not long after we dropped that letter in the mail, we got a phone call from Mike Snyder, inviting us to travel back to Nashville and inviting me to step into the Hollywood Circle on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry to perform alongside my hero. And on July 25th, 1998, I did just that, wearing a blue sparkly rhinestone jacket and giving an enthusiastic thumbs up in front of a giant Goo Goo Clusters sign. After that unforgettable night at the Grand Ole Opry, we were fortunate to become friends with some of Mike Snyder's band, including a man named Charlie Cushman, who informed us that his bandmate, Bobby Clark, had a great home studio and that we could make a record there for pretty cheap. So by spring of 1999, we had loaded the car back up and we were back on the road to Nashville, this time to spend a week recording what would become my very first full-length record, an album known as Ready to Roll. 13 of my favorite bluegrass songs and one Leonard Skinner song, featuring my banjo playing, my beginner fiddle playing, and a prepubescent me singing.
Got my pistols in my pocket, boys, I'm Alabama bound. Got my pistols in my pocket, boys, I'm Alabama bound.
You see, what makes Ready to Roll a Hillbilly Treasure isn't the album cover, which features 13-year-old me in the same blue sparkly rhinestone jacket from the Opry, with my foot on a log and my arms around a banjo, and a family friend in a tuxedo next to a BMW loaded down with guitar cases. Oh no, the thing that makes Ready to Roll a Hillbilly Treasure is the musicianship you'll find on those songs. I'm talking about Charlie Cushman, banjo player for world-renowned bluegrass group the Earls of Leicester, Blake Williams, one of the greatest bassists to play in the genre, Bobby Clark, owner of the studio and legendary mandolin player and childhood friend of Vince Gill's. I'm also talking about Bobby Hicks, former bluegrass boy for the legend, the father of bluegrass, Bill Monroe, and a fantastic fiddler in his own right who pioneered double-stop fiddling. I'm talking about Larry Adamanuik, who played drums on a couple songs and who was a longtime drummer for Emmylou Harris and an in-demand session player today. Also, in-demand session player Brian Sutton appears on this record with some tasty, hot, fast guitar picking that will blow your socks off. And last but not least, of course, appearing on Ready to Roll, the legend, the pioneer of the dobro and bluegrass, the OG member of Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs' band, I'm talking about Josh Graves, affectionately known as Uncle Josh. That's right, folks. Ready to Roll is chock full of hillbilly goodness, and that's what makes it a hillbilly treasure. Now, ain't that a hillbilly treasure and a half? I've been Ready to Roll for a long time, and if you're interested in owning a copy of Ready to Roll on compact disc or cassette, let me know, because we still have a limited supply. And when that limited supply runs out, we got another limited supply waiting in the closet. Well, you know, a couple years before I made Ready to Roll, I joined my very first band. It was a bluegrass band called the Wabash Cannibals.
And everybody in the group was a grown-up except for me, which worked to my advantage, because one day we got a phone call here at the house, and I got an invite to join the fellas on a road trip to Merlefest, one of the coolest music festivals of all time. And headlining Merlefest that year was none other than Willie Nelson. It would be my first chance to see Willie in concert, and it changed my life forever. It wouldn't be until last year when I was touring with Old Crow Medicine Show that I got to connect with Willie in a different way. Willie invited everybody from the show that day to join him on stage to sing Will the Circle Be Unbroken during the encore. And that changed my life too. It was a full circle moment that I had to commemorate in song. And here's that brand new song, On the Road Again, Again. Merlefest 97, I was 11, must have been 9, baby, 10 rows back. Hit the breeze hitting me, Whiskey River tripping me, steady as a train on the track. I've been rocking along, I've been rambling ever since, with a red bandana song and my thumb stuck in the wind. I got a little green rolled up in my pocket, got a little diesel rolling around in the tank, got a little wind in the window down south of this old truck, more rust than paint. Sometimes I feel like a gypsy rolling down some broken white line dead end. I didn't know where I was going till your love came around the bend and got me singing along to On the Road Again, Again. Mama tried her best, but I ended up a cowboy, falling for an angel, flying too close to the ground. I guess that makes us Poncho and Lefty, baby. What you say we blow this town? I got a little green rolled up in my pocket, got a little diesel rolling around in the tank, got a little wind in the window down south of this old truck, more rust than paint. Sometimes I feel like a gypsy rolling down some broken white line dead end. I didn't know where I was going till your love came around the bend and got me singing along to On the Road Again, Again. Here's to red-headed strangers, here's to blue eyes crying, here's to never dropping anchor and a taste of a yesterday's wine. I got a little green rolled up in my pocket, got a little diesel rolling around in the tank, got a little wind in the window down south of this old truck, more rust than paint. Sometimes I feel like a gypsy rolling down some broken white line dead end. I didn't know where I was going till your love came around the bend, got me singing along to On the Road Again, Again. On the road again, just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends. I can't wait to get on the road again. Ain't that the truth? I truly cannot wait to be on the road again, to see each and every one of you in person. Well, that just about does it for our show tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Special thanks to Wade Bowen for being our guest. Y'all, next week we're going to take a pause, but we will return on June 15th with one of my favorite people in all of country music, Miss Haley Witters. Good night, everybody.